Can I play Jingle Bells? Am I allowed to play that on YouTube? Let me find out. Let's see here. Jingle Bells, anybody? Let's see here. Audio library. Not that you're going to be able to hear it. Let's see here. Jingle Bells. Jingle Bells. Yeah. Actually, you can, but you're probably not going to hear this. Little intro music. Let's see here. Oh, this is just an instrumental. Are you kidding me? They don't even have a Jingle Bells. Well, yeah, you have to put the... Alright, hang on a second here. This one should be alright. Let's see.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Day or two ago, I thought I'd take a ride, and soon Miss Fanny Bright was seated by my side. The horse was lean and lank, misfortune seemed his lot. We ran into a drifted bank, and there we got upside. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open.
Let's see. The song is over. Okay. The song is over. How about now? Any sound? Testing, testing. Unbelievable. I don't set up my sound for a while, and this is what happens. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, I don't know why it's got this. Something changed when the Mac system changed. You know, they changed the operating system. They upgraded it, and a lot of things changed. Carlos, how you doing? Oh, I got you. All right. Mr. Mitch, Mr. Longhorns, Mrs. Mallon. Is Alex awake? Huh. All right. Anyway, so let's just start out with the usual. Right now, what's the temperature? I still have it set to Hong Kong. It's 75 in Hong Kong. That means it's about 85. Yep, 85 in Bangkok. Yeah, I got it, Carlos, but I didn't really have time to respond. But yeah, I see how you're doing, which is you're still with us, so that's a good thing. That's all I'm going to say. I'll write you back shortly. Um, it's 85 degrees, high of 94 today. Feels like 90, and the humidity is 59%. So it's a little bit warm. It's going to get warmer. It's not all that humid, though. Winds are easterly at 7 miles an hour. Visibility is 6 miles, and unfortunately, the air quality is extremely poor at 114. Not good. Tomorrow it's supposed to be even worse. I saw the other day that Bangladesh and Pakistan are the top 2 worst countries for pollution, air pollution. And I think Bangkok was, I don't know, 37 or something like that. I don't remember what it was. I can't remember everything. The baht is now 30.23 to the dollar, so the dollar a little tiny bit stronger. 36 Fahrenheit in Mississippi? Seriously? Man, I didn't know it got so cold there. It's been a long time since I've been to Mississippi. One of these days, I'd like to go with the family on a little cross-country journey somewhere from point A to point B, from East Coast to West Coast, West Coast to East Coast, whatever. I'd like to do that. Anyway, getting back to stuff here. So yeah, the dollar's a little stronger. I don't know how it is against. Let's see here about everything else. I want to skip the tour. All right. Anyway, so that's that. Oh, they just had tornadoes. I can't keep up with everything, unfortunately. I have started looking at the news again because it's important. But first, before I go on any further, if you guys ever see there should be a link down below to my T-shirts, and also for people in the U.S. or North America, there should be some little icon or whatever underneath the video that shows the T-shirts. If not, look in the description. Some people were outside a little while ago fixing our electrical wires or something. Well, that might be a good thing there, Carlos, that you're fully retired. I mean, I think in your condition, it probably is a good thing. Let me see here. You haven't been able to keep up with all the news. I'm trying. 36, holy moly. And it's 72% humidity. That's unbelievable. What was I going to say? Oh, Manscaped. Oh, T-shirts. That's what first things first. The T-shirts. If you use the code Santa, you get 10% off of whatever the items cost. 10% off. Just use the code Santa. So that's great. Very nice if you want a shirt or whatever it is. Beach towel, whatever I got up there. I don't even remember. I got a bunch of products up there. And also Manscaped, I got to give them a shout out, Manscaped, because they have saved my balls more than once. Great underwear, great stuff. And today Alex is home. I'm going to be shaving my head, shaving my beard, giving myself a nice smooth shave, let it grow back. And I'll be using the Manscaped Lawnmower 2.0. And it's for down yonder. You can trim yourself down there, and you've got a nick your sack money back guarantee, which is great. So use the code Malin20 and get 20% off. That's what I was getting at. I'm trying to think. You know, sometimes I think I'm trying to do too much in my brain and I get frazzled. Well, that happens all the time. It's not sometimes. It's all the time. And for those who care, before I go any further, I've got the wonderful Pacquiao One Chip Challenge chip here, and I've been thinking about it. And I've been watching this show, what is it, Hot Ones? The Hot Ones? With a bunch of different celebrities on it, and they're eating the wings and swearing, and some of them are just, they're able to handle it. And I would like to smell this. So I'm not going to eat it right now. I'm going to save that for Sunday. If I'm going to do it, I'll do it on a Sunday. And I don't know if I want to go through this and deal with it. I've got to set aside a block of time in case I'm laid up or I've, got to run to the toilet every 5 minutes. But I've got the little chip here, and I want to take a little whiff. So I'm going to crack it. I know I probably shouldn't do that. It may affect the freshness, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because I want to smell it. And I got to be careful not to get anything on the fingers. It's a black chip. It doesn't smell all that. It smells a little different. Carl, was wondering how you're doing. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I've spent the last 2 days, aside from one little trip to the grocery to get a couple of things, I spent the last 2 days inside editing photos and editing videos. And, Alex has been here. That's been nice. Yeah, it doesn't... Ooh, man. It may not be all good if I eat this thing. It doesn't smell all that spicy. It's not like it burns my eyes or anything. I mean, some of the chilies that they cook here in Thailand, when you walk by, you catch a whiff of the breeze. The breeze brings a little whiff of the chilies. Ooh, I'm tempted. Very tempted to eat this. And that's really, really hot. This, I don't want to touch it and then touch my eyes. So I've heard it's very, very cold in New York right now. The weather is abysmal. Don't you wish you were here, Carl? Back in wonderful Thailand? You wouldn't eat it. Well, I do have my doubts. And it's not because I'm worried about burning my mouth or, clearing my nostrils and having a runny nose on camera or swearing, although I am trying to cut down. It's more because of my stomach. Because, what goes in has to come out. And I've heard about some stomach aches and these kind of things. And I haven't been eating a lot of spicy food lately. I used to eat a lot of spicy food. I used to eat really spicy food, and I just, for some reason, haven't been eating as much of it. And to me, the spiciest food is, like I said the other day, somtam or yum sen, which yum sen is like a glass noodle with onions and lime, and I can't do that to them. I can't do it to Alex or Nicholas. I just can't. If they, if they were in agony, first of all, I'd feel terrible. Second of all, my old lady would probably kill me. And third of all, they would probably kill me afterwards. I know they don't. Oops. I know they're not so fond. They're not really all that fond of spicy food. To be honest, actually, Alex wakes up every morning and has a bowl of oatmeal. He mixes in a little bit of fruit, like strawberries, some kiwi or whatever, and then he puts in a little bit of peanut butter. He mixes it all up, and that's what he has. And then he's eating. Sometimes he eats Thai food, but the Thai food he eats is not all that spicy. Speaking of Thailand, I've been mulling some things over, doing some thinking, and I try to look at both sides of things. Thailand is doing this for the better. Thailand has this negative that's not good for the people, blah, blah, blah. I'm always thinking about these things. The bottom line is, what? You making me a coffee? Huh? You want to make me one? Oh, why not? Huh? Sorry, I don't want one. I've already had 2 teas. Yeah, I'm not going to touch my eyes there, Mr. Mitch. I've seen on those, I'd like to try the hot ones. I actually would like to. I'd like to set that up myself and do it. Because that's a little, I don't want to say it's easier, but you get to see the progression from not so spicy, like sriracha sauce is not spicy. Oh, really? So have you found out about your shoulder? You got the MRI? Greetings, and I haven't said it, but because I just haven't been thinking about it much, even though I see it around here and there. But Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you for all the support for this year. I appreciate it more than you know, because this channel wouldn't be possible without you. But I'd like to be able to send everybody a Christmas present and that kind of thing. But quite frankly, I can't, and I'm not gonna. But I'll give you a thank you. That's my present. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. Maybe I'll send you a deadly chip if you want one. I'll send you one of these. You can try that for Christmas. But I may have this on Sunday. I'm going to stream on Sunday. I may have it on Sunday for your nerves. Still waiting on appointments. Start physical therapy in March. Oh, shit. Well, probably for the better. I mean, I know about 4 or 5 people who have problems with their shoulders. The wife is one of them, right? Huh? She don't want to talk. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Well, thank you very much, Sky Trooper. I was wondering where you were and what's up with you. Not that you are one of the people who blabber in the chat or anything, but I haven't seen you here. I don't know where Gennaro is, and I was wondering where Carlos was, and I emailed him asking him where he was, and now I know. Well, what I was going to say is, if you're not celebrating Christmas for the religious aspect, which I understand, being that I am an atheist, for whatever your, what do you call it? Oh, well, thank you very much, Carl. I appreciate that. Oh, you were away. Oh, well, that's nice. All right, the little thing spins. I like that. Appreciate it. You are the first of the day, so that's good luck for you. It's funny you were on a cruise. I know someone else who was on a cruise. Wow. Hey, what's happening, man? How's Boston? It's got to be freezing over there. It's got to be really cold. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Christmas has not been a big deal here for many years. Birthdays are not all that big of a deal. Uh, oh, wow. Oh, well, thanks a lot, Carlos. It's funny you mentioned that because was it yesterday? No, day before yesterday, uh, we had some chicken breasts in the freezer. I took them out. I defrosted them, slapped them on the little oven pan, and then threw some oil over it and put some of the, I forget what the rub was. Put the rub on it, and then made two chicken breasts for Alex and Nicholas. So yeah, I love those rubs. They're awesome. Thank you very much. Snowing right now. You know what I like about snow? I like being inside when it's nice and cozy and having a hot cocoa. I admit it. I love hot cocoa, or even a hot coffee early in the morning. Um, but getting back to Thailand, let's talk about Thailand for a minute. You know, I try not to lean one way or the other about Thailand, but I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were telling me that they think that Thailand has lost some of its Thai-ness, and I don't disagree, to be honest. Hey, you're awake! Wow, we're gonna have to have a meetup there in Pattaya. Maybe Longhorns, myself, Dre, I think is coming. Maybe Gennaro is coming. I don't know. Um, who knows? Carl may decide to fly back. You never know. Mr. Mitch, if he ever gets well, anybody who comes out here, maybe we should have a little get together. Oh yeah, you too. I can't keep track of it. I was trying to get people to put their info on a calendar and just tell me what's up and when they're coming, so maybe we could schedule something. But that seems to be a little bit difficult because, yeah, I kind of figured that. Um, Now, what I'm getting at, first of all, I am a little bit. How can I say? Uh, I said it before that I thought that Thailand oh, you're finally moving in there. Oh, okay. Finally, wow, that's cool. Uh, Finally, Stark is coming. That's good. Um, let me try to keep my train of thought here. Forgot what the hell I was going to say now. That's how easy it is. I get distracted very easily. My focus is not so good. Um, Thailand and its Thai-ness. I'm hesitant to bash Thailand in any way because it is my home. It's been my home for a long time, and I'm very comfortable here. I have, very few issues with people or anything like that. I have a very relaxed life when it comes to interactions with people here, and I like that. Um, But as I was talking to somebody yesterday, I was talking to him, and we were talking about how it seems like Thailand has become more and more westernized. And then I go back to the message. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I go back to this message I got the other day from this guy, and I talked about it a little bit. And I kind of agree with him about some things, what he's saying here. But let me see here. Where's he at? You guys, and this was about the video, has Thailand changed and where have all the good times gone? I do believe it's changed quite a bit over the years. It's been a good video back done in 2009. What is this? All right, let me read this here. You guys sound like my mother. When I was a kid, blah, blah, blah. There are not many countries that are the same now as they were in 1980. Well, of course. And there are not as many countries that are the same as they were in 1500 either. So, okay, great. That's nice. But that's not the point that I was trying to make. The good old USA capitalist model has influenced nearly every corner of our planet and every culture. I have a small apartment in Lod Prow. I think it's on Lod Prow, but okay, whatever. Let's see here. Yeah, it's always nice to get moved into a new place. Once you're all settled, then you'll be cool. Let me go on here. If I can find this again. I keep losing my place here. I have a small apartment on Lod Prow. It's 6 stops north of Ossock on the MRT. I've lived there mid-September through the end of February every year for the last 5 years. My rent has gone up once. I paid $15 more per month than my Thai neighbors in the building, but I don't mind that. It's a small price to pay to live in this beautiful country. Okay. I can tell you that while, you can, and this is where he starts to go off a little bit. But let me get to the next sentence. If you take the MRT, the BTS, or a metered taxi, you will never be ripped off. That's true. Almost never will you be ripped off. If you take a meter taxi, they're not going to, mess with the meter or anything like that. Most of the time, you never have to worry about any of that stuff. And the bus and the MRT and the BTS, you never have to worry about it. Yes, prices are going up, but that's true everywhere. I had a McDonald's double cheeseburger medium combo back in Michigan not long ago. $8 effing dollars. You like that? I slipped it in there, the F word. Was Thailand better 20 years ago? I don't know. But I can tell you that I respect the people and the culture. It is a fantastic place to spend time. My 2 cents. Okay, I don't think he meant it in a bad way or anything like that. But the thing is that, yeah, of course there's going to be changes in countries. There's going to be changes in governments. There's going to be changes in the people that are in charge and the way that they think and the way that they act. And they want a new direction for the country. However, I think that Thailand used to be considered a third world country. It's not anymore. It has modernized, and I think that what I was talking about with this person was that Thailand has, in some ways, lost a little of its traditions, and it's not quite what it used to be. And what I was talking about in that one particular video, if I remember correctly, was that, say, 10 or 20 years ago, things were much different here. And I was talking to about this as well with the guy, which is when I first got here and I first started coming here, there was the internet you connected with a modem, and it was very, very slow. You almost never could talk on the phone via internet because the connection was so bad. Usually you had to go into an internet cafe to connect to the internet. Every place didn't have Wi-Fi, all of that. So the internet has been huge here, and the same with mobile phones. When I first came over here, most people didn't have mobile phones. And when they did, the phones were expensive just like they are now. I mean, you can get cheap phones, but if you want a good smartphone, you're looking at 15,000 to 35, 40,000 baht, which is, that's $500 to almost 1,500. That's a lot of money. So, in that respect, things have changed. Also, the infrastructure has gotten much better. So these things are good, but when you look at the people and the mentality and the way that they're living their lives, I think it is what most people would call more westernized than it used to be in the past. I mean, they've cleaned off the streets. They've cleaned off Khao San Road. Even Sukhumvit Road, down by Nana, down by all the places in Soy Cowboy. I'm looking at Soy Dog Cowboy on the screen. All these places, all around these places, have become modernized. And I think that in many ways there are still some aspects of the culture that are very, very traditional, especially when you get up with the people, the more elite. higher society, the older people. But the younger generation, I think, is a little bit different, and I don't think they're quite like they used to be. And while that happens everywhere, I think here there's been a marked change, uh, a rather large change. And I don't know, some people may disagree with me, but the thing is I was here 25 years ago, and I know what it was like, and I know the feeling I had before. And if you think about the Vietnam era in Pattaya, and you think about how it is now, it's much different now than it was then. Even it's different from, say, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So it's constantly changing. And what the Thais are very good at is finding the niche and then sticking with it, and then they market it, and they make a good living from it. I mean, who would have thought that the Indians would have taken over Pattaya, or the Russians, Ukrainians, whoever? Who would have thought that? Chinese. The Chinese, I might have thought that. Because, Thailand, if you remember when I took the cruise or the little ship, what is it? The little boat taxi down the Chao Phraya, and I went to the place that was like a museum for, I don't know what it was called. It was a museum with that showed how things used to be on the Chao Phraya and in Bangkok, and how, there you are. What's going on, Gennaro? It was a place that that showed how it used to be, and how the Chinese influence was, and why they built the river, and they built it used to be a transportation system. It was the main transportation system, and it still is a transportation system, but it's not the transportation system. And now there's a lot more people, and so they need different ways to get around. Wow. Yeah, you see, there was a time when I knew a little bit about Pattaya, but that was many, many years ago, and I know very little. I mean, as you probably noticed when I went, a couple months ago. Non Plaza, that's a good name, actually. They'd be smart to pick that one up. Hola, hola. Or you could say Sawatdee, Sawatdee Cup. Yeah, so, I mean, the place is changing, and some people don't like it. And I understand. But, for the most part, you don't have to show a lot more money here. What you do have to show now is the insurance. I have not been pestered about the insurance when I've been going in and out of the country to Hong Kong and then back. They haven't said one word about insurance to me. So, yeah, that's changing, but you can't really blame them. There's a lot of European countries that, they expect you to have insurance when you come in. So why wouldn't they expect you to have insurance here? I mean, I think that what happens is when a country just allows, there's an anything goes. That's real nice. A yeast infection. When a country like Thailand, which had a reputation, and it still has a bit of a reputation for anything goes. You got the money, you can do whatever you want. When you start out at that, and then you start making changes saying anything doesn't go, you can't just buy that. We have rules that we want you to abide by. And then I think it's also for the O visa also, Soy Dog. I think it's for any non-immigrant visa, except I think the media visa. I don't think that that's a concern. And speaking of insurance, it's so funny. Speaking of insurance, and I just get a message from Aetna about travel insurance. And actually could help to plan. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard of that vaguely, but I don't know. I have no idea what it is. So yeah, I mean, Thailand is that's funny. I mean, listen, money talks and bullshit walks. Do you like that Thailand is more westernized now, or do you like the way it was when you moved there? Well, that's a tough question because I do like the. There's always been a semi good, a decent infrastructure. I mean, even 15, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, you wanted to get around. You took a taxi, uh, you took a bus. You took, even in the little provinces, they had buses running back and forth. You could take those. Um, so the infrastructure was very good, but I do like the convenience that they have now. Things like, you got Grab. You want to Grab? Boom, you call them up. There's less hassle with the taxis, and the taxis. There was a lot more hassles back then, but I still remember going to different cities and taking a taxi there and paying like $50, and it would be like a 5 hour, 6 hour ride. So it's hard to say. Do I like it? Do you like the Thailand most westernized? Do you like the way it was? I mean, there are some things I don't like now, but I think that there is. I think that the place is no longer. It's lost its naivete. It used to be that Thais, say 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, they knew very little about the outside world. Now they know they can find things out very quickly. They communicate very quickly. Back then it was a more slow pace. So I think that's a big difference is the pace. Now the pace is much quicker, at least in Bangkok. You want to go out somewhere else to one of the villages or something like that, or the smaller cities. Yeah, the pace is going to be slower. But here I think the pace is much faster than it used to be. The infrastructure is better, and I do like that, and I like the fact that you can go online and you just go, I want to order a pizza, or I want to order groceries or whatever. That's pretty nice. You can't really complain about that. But I do like the vibe that Thailand had, and the thing is I was younger then, so my outlook on what is and what isn't was different. Now I'm older. I want different things. My priorities are different. The language barrier. Yeah, the language barrier could possess some problems, but I would say that while there are enough Thais that speak English in most places that you're going to be okay. I mean, I don't think Longhorn speaks more than a couple of words in Thai, and he does fine. Jono doesn't speak much Thai at all. Sawadee Kap, Kap Kun Kap, that's about it. And he does fine. Now, if you're in a westernized area that caters to Westerners, it's going to be much easier. Once you go out into the villages, it's going to be a little more difficult. I don't know if you've been asked, what drew you to Thailand? Muay Thai drew me to Thailand. I used to, there was a time when I was doing Muay Thai and kickboxing in Southern California. And I used to go to this kickboxing gym in Long Beach, and there was a lot of Cambodians there. And then I moved, and I started going to a gym that was in this guy's garage in, I think it was El Monte. And he had a little Thai guy that was training there, training people there. And so I went there for a while, and then he stopped. He was looking for a new gym or something like that, and I went to this. It was a kickboxing gym, and basically I didn't like the gym because it was just you go in and you train, and nobody works with you. You don't really learn anything. It was tough to get somebody on the pads. So then I went down to the Muay Thai gym in North Hollywood, which I believe is still there, but I don't know. But it was a pretty famous gym there. They had some good fighters, guys who fought. There's a guy who I know he's got a gym in Texas now. And then I went back to the guy, the guy who was teaching in the garage. I went to his place, and then I started thinking about Thailand because he started telling me, "Oh, you should go, you should go." And then for whatever reason, I stopped going to his gym, and I found out about this Dutch fighter, Ramon Dekker, and I watched him on videos, and I was like, man, this guy's awesome. Then I found out where his gym was, and I went to his gym, and I started going. Every year I'd go for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Every year it was over Thanksgiving I would go. This is a long time ago now. And, I'd always prep I would be thinking months in advance, oh, it's coming, I'm going to go over there. Because I do like the Netherlands. And so I went there and started training, and then the guy who was in charge there and a couple other people used to say, oh, you should go to Thailand, you should go to Thailand, you should go to Thailand. But I still didn't feel really experienced enough because I was like, they don't speak English there, and, how am I going to deal with it? And, times were different then. But then I found, what was it called? Air Courier. I don't remember the name of it. Like Air Courier Express or something like that. In the old days, you used to be able, what you would do is you'd give up your weight for luggage. You'd give up that weight, and you could carry your, whatever you could carry on the plane, you were allowed to bring. But the luggage was for this company, and what they would do is pack all kinds of documents in there, and then you had to go to the airport. You pay the money. You'd go to the airport, you'd meet their guy, they'd tell you got to be here at this time, and you'd have to be there. If you missed out, you missed your flight. You didn't get no refund, no nothing. And I never missed. So you would go and meet the guy. He'd give you a little voucher, a little package with your flight information, and then it'd have something to do with your luggage. And then you'd get on the plane, you'd go, you arrived, and then there was somebody there waiting, and you had to give them their little courier envelope, and then they would take care of the rest. Then you were on your own. You could stay for however long you wanted, as long as you make the agreement with the company. You're going to stay for one time I stayed for like 4 days, and I got the ticket for like $50, $100. I can't remember how much it was now, but it was really cheap, and I was like, I gotta go. And but most of the time it was around $200. So, yeah, good morning. So, I would do that every once in a while, and then I just started thinking, you know what? I've come here, and why not? I'll give it a shot, So that's that's the deal. Basically, that's what drew me here, was the Muay Thai. Then when I got here, I figured, these guys are going to kick the shit out of me. I knew that in Holland. I knew, at a low level, maybe I could compete a little bit. But if I got to a high level, if I ever tried to fight somebody at a high level, I'd get thrashed. And so I figured, well, I'm here. I like the country. I like the culture. But, I'm not going to make it in Muay Thai. I was too old anyway, so. So that was that. I could smell that peanut butter. Yeah, Alex is up now. So anyway, those were the days, and those were the days when a lot of times I communicated with fax. I didn't even use the internet because it wasn't reliable enough, and it was such a pain to send. Like sometimes I'd have to read some documents or something from in the U.S. I'd have somebody. There was a girl that used to work for me, a lady that used to work for me, and she would take care of things when I was gone. And so she would fax things to me because the email wasn't good enough, really. It would take forever to get the documents and for me to send them. So faxing cost a little bit more, but it was much more reliable. So, that's when it was. It was back before those days. Alex, Mr. Billy wants to know if you want to go with him to Pattaya. Why not? He's not like out to take you to.
Maybe Nikki can.
Say hi to Billy for me.
He says hello. If you can hear him. Why don't you want to go? You're a homebody.
I know, but I would rather go to somewhere I haven't been before.
He's not asking you to go somewhere else. He's asking you to go to Pattaya.
I know. It's just Pattaya. We've been there a lot of times.
Oh, he's like been there, done that. But you haven't been there without your mother. Right? Could have a little fun,
I'll think about it.
Okay. So now he's changing his mind. He says, I'll think about it. Alex is he's a homebody. He likes to do what he has to do. He comes home and he chills out and he's very comfortable here. He likes that. Nicholas is a little more of a social butterfly. Right? He's heavily into his oatmeal now. So yeah, just fix him some chicken with the rub and bribe him to go. Yeah. You liked that rub the other day. It was good, huh? Oh, that was what? The American rub or something like that?
Yeah.
That was the one from that red, white, and blue bag, I think. I think that's what it's called. We're trying to go through our cupboards and get rid of stuff because we've got so much stuff. And, when you keep getting like spices and this and that and mixes and noodles, the next thing you know, you got so many that it's like there's no room for anything else. And then it's like, wait, how old is this? That's where we're at. So over Christmas, we're vowing to do that and to clean the house. Nobody says anything about that. So anyway, like I said the other day, there was a protest here in Thailand. And let me see, I gotta put my glasses on. This guy's name, I don't remember his name. What is the guy's name? He's a billionaire. Tanatorn, but what's his full name? Oh, Tanatorn Juan Gruen Kit. Yeah, that's his name. He is the leader of the Future Forward Party, and he said that there is going to be another protest, and actually there's a run. It's called Run Against Dictatorship. I'm not sure how well that's going to go over, but there's a run. It's January 12th. It starts at 4:30 a.m. until about 8 o'clock in the morning. And supposedly that is the protest. I don't know if it's a protest in the literal sense where people are going to be protesting, or it's just the run itself is a way to show that they're protesting the government. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure yet, but these things are still unfolding. But this party just lost 4 of its delegates, apparently, for something that the election committee deemed illegal. So they're not quite as strong as they were. And, again, just going to have to wait and see. It's kind of like Hong Kong. You know, what I've noticed is that protests usually don't last for 6 months like they did in Hong Kong. They last for a short period of time and boom, that's it. No, this is a protest against dictatorship, which is what they feel General Prayut is. They believe he is a dictator. And they don't like that the vote was disputed, and, you know, he was with the military, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to get into it that much more because I don't really want to. As I was saying to somebody today that that's what's great about photos is you can put a comment that you don't have to lean either way, but the photo will speak for itself, and that's the idea. And that way, you tend to get in less trouble, and I don't want any trouble. But if there's a protest, I'll be there, or a march, or whatever, a run. I'm going to be there, and I will photograph it and, you know, shoot a little video, maybe even live stream it. I don't know. We'll have to see. And in Hong Kong, just to kind of keep up to speed here, you know, the CEO, Carrie Lam, who I'm starting to dislike more and more. And I'm sure personally she's probably very cordial and polite and nice and yada, yada, yada. But you have to look past that. And she gave a press conference the other day, and basically they asked her, you know, what did she talk about with the leaders of Beijing? And she said, I can't tell you what we talked about. But what I will say is that they're very aware of what's going on here, and they know, you know, something to the effect, to paraphrase, that we're on the right track, and that these are, what was the word she used? Not trying times, but, what? I was loading a car. Indians are, in Pattaya. Let me see here if I can find this. What was it she said? Well, anyway, it's something to the effect that they understand that these are these times are not extraordinary. What is the word that I'm looking for? Unusual or something like that. Unusual times, we'll say. I'm paraphrasing. And that they understand about what's going on, and she hopes that the protesters will stop their violent behavior. And, you know, that's like giving the middle finger to the people who are protesting there. Because it's supposed to be a democracy. And, you know, I've thought about this long and hard, and I still feel, you know, when I first went to Hong Kong, I knew nothing. It was the one place I hadn't gone. I knew nothing other than Hong Kong was a little expensive, you know, and that, you know, the usual stuff. And the usual, like, you know, Bruce Lee, you know, in the Bruce Lee movie Enter the Dragon, the guy, what's the guy's name? Ron Van Cleef, I think his name was. What was it? The guy with the fro. He was the one who got stopped by the police, and the police were like, "Where are you going?" And they called him a jig. "Where are you going, jig?" And they pulled out his ticket or something like that, and he said, "Oh, he's going to where did he say he was going? Somewhere via Hong Kong or something like that." I always remembered that. That's when I started, you know, thinking about Hong Kong. From that movie, that was 72, I think. But I didn't know much more. And now I know a little more. And what I know, I don't particularly like, because what the government is doing, and I hate this about the government or the people, is that No, that's not true, man. Yeah, I understand that there's pictures of them, but that's not true. Um, as far as I know, it's they're using that these guys are there. They're using that as ammunition against the protesters. But it's when the government says something and then they totally refuse to acknowledge or hear. Was it 73? It refused to acknowledge or hear what the people who, it's a democracy, they're supposed to listen. They refuse to hear them. And that's what pisses them off. They don't even want to ignore. It was 1973, you're right. When they refuse to acknowledge that these people, they're asking questions and they want answers and they want change and they're trying to make the change, and then they get completely ignored, or when they try to gather to draw attention to what they're trying to accomplish, they get beaten or they get stopped, and the police are, by most accounts, they're breaking the law. They're breaking the laws of Hong Kong, and they're doing things that are people are unaccustomed to. And so then you get to the point where these protesters, anti-government protesters, they're pissed off, and they're like, well, what are we going to do? They don't listen to us. And she goes on, and it's the same with the police. If you ever want, you can find their press conferences online. And some of the press conferences are in English, at least a portion of them are in English. But the police, the head of the police, and also the CEO of Hong Kong, they have a tendency to ignore just like politicians, they ignore the questions that are the hard questions, and they give some BS answer, and they go around it, and then they move. So yeah, I can't speak on that. Let's move on. And then it's like, wait a minute, you didn't answer anything that's important, which is why I've never tried to go and ask them questions. First of all, I don't know they would allow me to go in and ask them questions, on a one-on-one basis and film them. I don't think they would let me. I don't think I'm important enough, to be honest, but I don't think they would let me. And I know, frankly, that they would probably give me the same answer that you hear all the time. They would just, and if I tried to pin them down, it'd be like, okay, that's it, I've got to go. This happened a while ago, actually. It started a while ago. All right, Carlos, you take it easy, man. I'll send you an email. Be well, huh? Get better. Yeah, I really don't think that these Ukrainian, and there weren't very many of them. There was only, I think there was like 4 or 5. But this happened, this is like a month, 2 months ago, when they first came over and saw them. And I thought a couple of them left. But they flat out said, we're not here to do anything. We're not here to cause any violence. That was what they didn't say they weren't there to do anything. So they may be helping people behind the scenes. I don't know. But there's a lot of people that want to help and that do help behind the scenes. They're the support aspect of this movement. But, this is a very complex, I hate to say it because that sounds like I'm looking for a way out. But it's a complex issue. You can't blame everything on the Chinese. You just can't. It's not all their fault. However, there are a lot of unanswered questions that they should answer, and they should deal with. And their human rights record is abysmal. And so it makes them less credible in the eyes of the media and in the eyes of most people. But yeah, when it comes to the Ukrainian, this is like a month or two ago that they were first acknowledged. And if they're doing anything, they're doing it something as support and nothing else. Um, I love that movie. I can watch that movie over and over again, and it's a little schlocky at times, but you know, it still is a great movie. Mr. Braithwaite, Mr. Braithwaite, don't what is it? Don't only look at the finger, or you will miss all of the heavenly glory. I still remember many. If I watch the movie, I know almost everything they're going to say before they even say it. I've watched that movie so many times. But you know, this is the thing too: is there is propaganda put forward by both sides, so you have to be very careful about this. And I'll tell you what, I learned. Yeah, boards don't hit back. What's your style? You could call it the style of fighting without fighting. It's when he put the guy out on the boat. But you know, when I went to Myanmar, I don't know how many years ago now. It's been 5 years, 6 years ago, and I had contacted some people who could help me get into the camps. And what I found out was that afterwards I thought about it, and I thought, you know, listen, this is not about just giving me access and letting me figure things out and get the story as I see it. This is trying to use me as just to use me. They were using me to try to further their efforts, but I wanted to know the truth. I didn't necessarily want to know, you know, only what they had to say. I wanted to know what the other people said also. And, you know, I did, once I got back, I thought to myself, man, they actually used me. I mean, I went out of my way and I almost got in trouble because the police came. There was a couple of police from the village who came out and said, you know, who is your friend? Which I'd never met the guy in my life before. Who's your friend? And, what is his religion? And I was like, I don't know his religion. I don't know. I don't ask. I don't care. You know. And they basically told me, you're not going to get to see this guy. You got to go. And I was like, okay, bye. And I just left because discretion is the better part of valor. Something like that. I see the U.S. trying to instigate conflict and weaken the Chinese position in the trade talks and the South China Sea issues and wonder who else can be involved and why. Well, how do you know that the U.S. is trying to instigate conflict and weaken the Chinese position in the trade talks? I mean, this has been going on far before Trump and, what's his name, Xi Jinping or whatever his name is. This is far before. These problems have been happening for years. This is not something that just happened on a spur of the moment. There was an impetus for these protests because of all the things that had been happening in the years before. And the main thing is, if you look at it, there is an agreement, and China is supposed to abide by the agreement, where in 2047, Hong Kong goes back and it reverts back to the Chinese government. It's still part of China, but it's one country and two systems. It goes to their system in 2047, reverts back. Why have they not allowed that to happen? They're supposed to be able to vote for their CEO. Guess what? They've never been able to vote for their CEO. They tried to implement national education, as in nationalism education. And the Hong Kongers didn't want it. They didn't ask for it. They didn't want it. It's not their system. And they were fortunate enough, and they persevered to where they were not forced to do so. But I don't understand, where is all this that every country has their things going on behind the scenes, but we don't know what those things are. We can guess. And I would say that if anything, maybe maybe Trump is trying to do some things, and listen, to his credit, he didn't bow down to the Chinese when they said, "Oh, if you do this, it's going to be a huge mistake. We're going to make you pay and all this stuff." He's like, "Too bad. Go ahead, do it." You know. The other day I got a question. See if I can find it here. Well, I remember the question, but and it was the same thing I hear all the time. So, well, what's going to happen? What are they going to do? What they're going to do is they're just going to keep fighting, and they'll die trying to do what they want to do, and they may die. People may die. A lot of people may die, but they don't want to go down without a fight. Which it's sad and it sucks, but what else? What other choice do they have? And from what I've seen recently, the majority of the protesters have tried. They have attempted to stay very calm and not to get excited when the police arrive. And it's the police who are doing a lot of things. You're going to have to stay with us, Resident Gray. I can't just keep going over things. Anyway, there was another journalist. Journalists were harassed and beaten the other day. A journalist. And another guy almost had his eye put out. Another journalist almost had their eye put out because the police shot a tear gas canister, and there was nobody around except the journalists. And this has happened many times. It happened to me, like I've said several times. And I was like, what the? I couldn't understand it. Why are they going to shoot? Why would they do that? Because listen, if the protesters do something that is considered too violent, guess what? It's going to turn the press against them, and then the press in turn is going to make it difficult for people to side with them, and then they're losing out. And both sides, they know this, but the police continually shoot at journalists. And where's the message I got the other day? Let me see. This one message wasn't directly to me. What? Oh, okay. Let me think what the message was about them shooting at them. I'm in this group here, and they're talking about. Let's see if I can find this. Yeah, here's the guy who got shot. 2 journalists attacked. This was, I guess, day before yesterday. And then another guy was beat up by 5 people. Yeah, this guy got shot. As we were running along, a cop gave a push to a journalist in front of me. Journalist recovered, but didn't fall. But yeah, deserves a mention. There's always these types of aggression, especially in these situations, but the attacks last night were ridiculous. Well, you don't know? The protesters are not supposed to train the police. They pay their salaries. This is the thing. They pay their salaries. And I understand they've got a hard job to do. But, training or not, you can't just go out and just beat up people or kill people, journalists. Where was the place that was was it Turkey? Let me see here. This was a Tunisian Australian. Let me see something here. Some of these messages. Anyway, you know, Resident Gray, you know, where are you? Who are you? Tell us a little about yourself so we know what's up with you. Because your question, it strikes me as odd. Who is training the police? They probably have a training program in place already. So it's and also who is monitoring the police? Guess what? Nobody's monitoring them. If anybody, it's from inside. It's the police monitoring the police. And while I will say, I have to try to look at both sides and say, the police are under tremendous pressure. They're under tremendous stress because they're working long hours. You got people who basically hate you because of what a relatively small amount of people, considering the size of the force, has done. And every time you go out, you don't know what's going to happen. So I understand, hey, they got a difficult job. I understand that. And they may be taking orders that they don't want to follow. But if they don't follow them, they're not going to have a job. So, you know, where does that lead? What's the point? What's the point of going out and beating up the people who pay your salaries? New Jersey. Okay. I asked because they could all be ill prepared. Well, no doubt that they probably are ill prepared for this kind of situation and this kind of conflict. I don't think that they're all that prepared because what was the last time that? What was the last? What was 2014? But before that, I think it was 67 or 69 with Hong Kong. Yeah, see, it just only shows 2019, but everything's about the. I don't want to look for this right now, but going to not be a major imperialist. Join to not be a mercenary for imperialist aims while serving the country. Well, hey man, that's you know that's between you and the government, not between me. I understand that, but I'm not sure why you would think that it's you know. I don't understand why you would think that the U.S. is so behind everything. And granted, you know, they passed this law, but many other countries are passing laws. Okay, so are you saying it's the West against China? Because I don't dispute that. But then again, you know, if you really want to look at it, all these countries, they're all full of it. That's the way I look at it. The governments are all full of it. They're all out for their own aims. They're not necessarily out for the betterment of the people that they serve. Some of them are out for their own gains or for their constituents or whatever it may be. But I think that when it comes to the CCP, I think there are some serious flaws in the way that they handle things in their country, and that's their business. I don't necessarily believe we need to go and do something and protect everybody, but the people of the United States and the government of the United States have not physically, they're not going to war. They're not attacking the people. All they're doing is passing laws. They're making it more difficult. Game the same way protests are game. Dude, listen. Have you been to Hong Kong during the protests? Because I can tell you that if you talk to the people on the ground, it's sure. And I've talked to some of the leaders of the local leaders, and I can tell you it sure doesn't feel that way to me. You know, if listen, I'm just reading a story right here. Where is it? About money being the weapon, the main weapon. That's how people are trying to fight back. What happened to it? Yeah, Hong Kong protesters use money as a weapon as protests continue. You want to know more? Okay, well, until you know more, you can't really make statements that are just saying, "Oh, well, I think yeah, okay, you can think whatever you want, but how can you really believe it?" It was incorrectly labeled as anti-protest blue shop. Yeah, you see, that's one way that, okay, I understand what they're saying here, and I was told about this and shown this by someone I know in Hong Kong. Feel any place that can be prepared when people are. Yeah, well, I mean, you could be ill prepared, but what do you go and beat up somebody, some old lady or old man, or you pepper spray somebody down on the ground, and or you beat the hell out of them for when they're not doing anything. They got their hands up, they're laying there, and then you got the cops who go, "Oh yeah, but they were resisting." No, they're not resisting. They're sitting there. So that's the BS that you get fed. But what they do there is they've got restaurants and businesses that the protesters deem to be yellow, which is pro Hong Kong, and blue, which is pro China. And so they decide, hey, we're not going to shop at these pro blue, at these pro Beijing shops. We're not going to do business with them, with pro China shops. We won't do business with them, and it is having an effect. And they're just saying that one guy here, he was incorrectly labeled an anti-protest blue shop, and it's almost cost him to lose his business. And there are lines. Hey, Dre. There are lines to certain businesses, and I was going to go out to lunch to a place that was a yellow restaurant, and the line is probably 30 people standing in line to get in, and so we didn't go there. We went somewhere else. It was just too many people. We didn't want to wait. But that's what they're doing now. Now listen, I think at some point you have to take a stand, and that's what they're doing. And that's not sorry, but that's not getting violent. That's simply saying, and the Chinese do it all the time. What are you talking about? They come to on tours to Thailand. They're not using a Thai tour company. They're using Chinese companies. They got Chinese. It's all Chinese. So you want to do that whole nationalism thing and stick together and all that. Well, Americans do that great too. They can do that. And say what you will about America. I'm still American, and I still side with America. And while I don't believe everything or think everything is always good that they're trying to show, mind if I ask how you feel being back in the? Do you think you've decompressed? Feel a kind back in it? Carl, that's a good question, and I was just talking to somebody about it yesterday. I've been talking to a lot of people lately, online and off. This guy actually asked me, "Do you? What was the question?" I'll read this because it is a good question, but and I'll read you exactly what I said. Now, this is a guy that was with Simon and myself. I met him through Simon. Let's see here. Okay. I'm going to read this. I don't think you'll mind. This guy was a cool guy. I hung out with him for a little while. He's a friend of Simon's. I met him. He's an American. I think he was from Detroit. He lives in Vietnam. And he didn't have a press card, but he still was trying to get shots, but he's very careful about what he did and where he was. Anyway, nice guy. And he asked me, do you experience anything like PTSD when you come back from Hong Kong? I put, good question. I'm a little hesitant to say yes, because I know people who have fought in wars, several people who fought in wars, who are on disability because they have PTSD or who have been injured. I am definitely not the same mentally and emotionally, though. I'm not sure if I'd call it PTSD. Maybe a doctor would know, but I'm definitely affected by what I've experienced. Not like it was an enlightening experience, more like an experience I wouldn't want for anybody that I care about. Like, I would never bring my kids, I would never bring my family to Hong Kong while there were protests. I just wouldn't do it. Then I think of all the other people over there every day and wonder how they cope. If I feel how I feel, their feelings must be even worse. Perhaps this is why the suicide has increased in Hong Kong. Definitely with you on that. I think it would be worth thinking about PTSD on a spectrum. Yeah, see, I don't know that much about it. Thanks a lot, Dre. Maybe what I felt was a 3 at most, very short-lived. I was only there a little over a week, and guess it took a week or two to shake completely. There was stuff flashing in my head. I couldn't really stay focused. I can't imagine what the people there will experience in the wake of all of this. I got into a deep diatribe last night with a young Vietnamese guy who really didn't understand the situation. Having gone there gave me some credibility, and I could tell I persuaded him a bit. Yeah, thanks again, Dre. Merry Christmas, by the way. So do I feel... I don't feel the same, I'll be honest. That one is not alone, and I can reach out to myself or any other who are outspoken about such suffering. I've tried to keep myself, keep a buffer. Between I've tried to just kind of keep myself on the outside looking in. I guess that's the way I could say it. But once you start to know people there, you start to get to talk to them, you see them, and this goes for journalists as well, Hong Kong journalists. And you meet these guys, and you need to talk to them. And, I always I keep saying this about the guy who was like 17 years old, and I was telling him, I have a kid who's 17. And the kid said to me, I don't have anybody. My mother and father have died. His grandmother was very old and was ready to pass away. And he's like, I don't have them. I won't have them. Then, if I lose Hong Kong, what am I going to have? I have nothing. When you hear that, and then you go out and you're on the street and people are, they're upset. And then all of a sudden the police charge in and start beating the hell out of some guy who's like 18, 20 years old. Oh, all right, man. How long are you going to be here? But when then I see somebody and they're getting whacked, or you got some old lady, and I say old, she could be like 60, 60, 70, 80, and she's walking through tear gas, she's totally oblivious, or she's yelling at the police because she's pissed off because she doesn't like what's going to happen to the people in the future and what she thinks is going to happen to them, or she's crying like the one lady was crying, and I saw that lady at numerous lunchtime protests. Oh, okay, cool. So that's a while, a couple weeks. That's the kind of thing that, like on a spectrum, okay, yeah, I don't like seeing those kind of things. Who does? But I figure it's still a good thing that I was there. I still think it's a good thing if I go back. I still think that maybe it helps. It makes a difference. Because, first of all, not only are the photos that I take being distributed, which is great, you know, and hopefully a lot of them get published. I don't know. But they are definitely distributed. And they're also online, and things are online. And there are, I am working on a couple videos, and, it may take me some time, but I am working on some stuff. And so more people are seeing this. And if they see it, and for me, it's like a photo. I don't really, as much as I'm talking about it right now, I prefer I just show a video clip, that I have video clips of all this stuff. And I think there were some streams. I think there was one stream in particular. I don't remember if I was streaming at the time. I don't think I was. But the one kid it was in Central, where it was by the Armani and Louis Vuitton, and they're all in that intersection. And some kid said something, did something they didn't like, and they, like 5 of them ran in, bulldozed everybody, almost bulldozed the lady with her kid. She had a baby in a baby carriage. And then I ran down. I followed them. I had to run with them. There's a couple other people. Do you need any stickers or anything designed? Well, I'll think about that, Dre. Maybe you can email me or whatever. That's something yeah. I'd like to think about that a little bit. There's a lot of things I'd like to do, but, I don't always have, like I always say, I don't always have the time, energy, or money to do them, or knowledge to do them. But, decals, maybe. Stickers, something like that. Let me think about it. But maybe send me an email, because I don't know how I can contact you through YouTube anymore. I don't think it's really possible, to do it privately. But anyway, I ran after the kid, and there was a couple of people, a couple other journalists with me, photographers with me, and they're well, thank you. They're locking this guy up from behind, and they're slamming him up against the wall, and he's screaming out his name and his name, and I think his phone number and his address. He was screaming it out. I couldn't tell at first, and I heard his name. He was saying his name. And then there was a guy there that they were harassing for no reason. He was just like standing there, and basically was trying to protect the mother with the kid in the carriage. And I was standing on one side of the carriage. He was standing on the other. And he's arguing with the police. The police is giving him a hard time. He's going, listen, I was yelling at you, screaming at you because you almost ran over this lady with her baby, and you're still pushing. Because they continually were pushing people back, like really pushing them. And so I just kind of moved the thing to the side, and I was like, all right, well, that fixes that. But they continually harassed the guy. And then I saw the guy later, in the stream, I think, one of the days that I left, and I only had limited time, and I was leaving that day. It was the day the kid got shot by the traffic police, traffic cop. And I was there like an hour afterwards, and then I was there for a few hours, and I had to go back to my room. Then I came back. Well, anyway, during that one of those times, I saw the same guy. And he was like, man, he was basically saying they were constantly breaking his balls. Because if he was out and he said anything, they didn't want him there. So in other words, you're not allowed to speak up. You're not allowed to say anything. And now what they're doing is they're going to, I don't know if they're considering it or what stage it is, but it hasn't passed yet. But they're considering passing a bill that makes it illegal to insult a civil servant, which for the most part, that means the cops. So if you say anything bad to the cops, they arrest you right away. Which, I think that they're going to have a field day with that one. Because say what you will, the Hong Kong court still seems to be on the side of right for the most part. So anyway, that's what's going on over there. And then you know, I'm definitely not going anywhere for a little while. And I've been thinking about this. You know, there are a lot of things in Thailand that I'd like to look into more. And you know, it's probably a good thing because, and I'm not talking about protests or killings or anything that's going to get me in trouble. I'm talking about there are some projects that I'd like to do, and I've been thinking about. And I'm not talking about anal bleaching either, although that kind of would be funny. Can you hear that? What's selling eggs? Oh. They're selling watermelon. You seem to be in the middle of chaos a lot of time. Actually, you know, for all the times that I was up in the front, I've seen some photos of certain situations that I was in by other photographers, and I'm wondering, like, how did they get that shot? How did they figure to be in that spot, not the other? You know, who said anything about making the place American? What are you talking about? Making the police American? Who said that? I don't see anything about anybody saying that, and I don't believe I said it either. And now you're starting to worry me because you're starting to. It is like you're anti-American, pro-Chinese, or something. And while that in itself is not necessarily wrong, in this context, I don't believe it's warranted, and I don't think it's right. So, what are you talking about, though? American, a.k.a. militarized. What are you talking about? You're losing me, dude. Yeah, I think he's... I'm sorry, dude, but I think you're overstepping your bounds. I don't think anybody's talking about... Yeah, but you got to understand something. You're writing something. I have no idea how to take what you're writing. It's about context. You write something, it makes absolutely no sense to anybody. So if you preface that with something, then maybe it would make sense. If you said, this is an analogy, blah, blah, blah. An American, a.k.a. militarized. What? I don't even understand that. That's what they're doing, in a sense, because they have no military. There is no military in Hong Kong. Although, you know, the PLA is there. They're not Hong Kongers. And if you ask the people, what are you? Okay. They are pushing for authoritarian power with that new law as a start. Well, that's not the start. The start of it was the extradition bill. Tell them to go bleach this analogy. Oh, that's funny. Hey. The extradition bill that was what was the impetus for everything. It's not that they haven't had problems in the past, but these problems have been growing. And so now they've got to the point where people are pissed off. You know, listen, if my kid walked down the street and the police stopped him and said, I want to check your bag, I'd be like, what? Why do you got to check his bag? What's the reason behind that? I would let him do it. I'd be like, okay, go ahead. But then I'd be like, why do you need to check him? I'd want to know why. And then if they beat me because I asked a question of them, what kind of police force is that? That's not a police force I want to pay taxes for. What the hell is that? You know what I mean? It makes no sense. And, you know, they can call these people... rioters, okay, in some cases, maybe, I can see that. When they start throwing Molotov cocktails at the police vehicles and breaking things and burning buildings, okay, I can understand you're going to use that word. But then how can you justify, you can't. You see, you can't justify them charging them with a crime when they're committing crimes all the time that are prompting these people to react because they have no other options. They've tried negotiating, they've tried talking, they've tried peaceful methods. So when they start popping off, what do you expect? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand what else they're going to do. I don't think they're going to be able to do anything. And if this law passes where they can't insult a civil servant, well, the lawyers are going to have a field day with that because they do have a freedom of speech in Hong Kong. They do have that. I think Mr. Mitch is going to be chilling for quite some time. Here's the ESC. So, I mean, like I said, I've continued to say, when I'm there, I want to photograph everything. I'd like to film, everything I can from both sides. Because, listen, who is it there? Who is it for? What is the phrase I'm looking at, man? I need to slow down here. Who am I to decide what's right and wrong in their country? But what I do know is that when somebody's standing there and they're 70 years old and they start saying something to a police officer and the police officer starts trying to intimidate them or threaten them, or I have probably 20 photos where they're raising up the pepper spray at some little old lady, some kid, some journalist, not somebody who is aggressive. And the guy who got beat up or shot or whatever, whichever one of these guys that they attacked, they told him to step back. He stepped back and they said, step back. And he said, I did step back more. He tried to step back more. He couldn't step back more. They did whatever they did to him. Gave him a whomping. So, I did write that. What did I write here? Also, I've narrowed down my choices of places and projects. Projects I'm not going to get into, although I did see a great film today. This morning, early morning, I saw a great film on the Cambodian fishing problem. And there's a guy, I guess, out, he's a foreigner that's been helping to alleviate that problem because the Vietnamese come into the Cambodian fishing waters and then they dredge and they do anything they can to get as many fish as they can. And then and it's illegal. And then they go back across the water and they can't do anything. So that was a pretty good film. But I think staying local is a wise move. I'm still very interested in Turkey, but I think I need to concentrate on Thailand and maybe Myanmar. I do like Turkey. Hong Kong, of course. And who knows, maybe I'll go back to Cambodia sometime next year. But, it all depends on what's happening. It's about the events, the current events. And, how dare you, Arcats? How dare you? Coming in here 99 minutes late. What's the problem? Actually, 100 minutes late now. Carl, are you planning to come back over here at all? You planning to take a little trip around Asia, Southeast Asia? I also thought about Kashmir, by the way. I've been thinking about that a lot for a while, but I don't know. India, Kashmir. That's maybe that could be interesting. But again, I have to think more about what am I. It can't just be I'm going to go and show you where I go in this part of Thailand or this part of India. There has to be some kind of a theme, and I think that's where, if anything, um, where I've fallen short on for the past few years. At least when I was doing a Chowderhead video or whatever, or something like that, or I go to a restaurant, it's about this restaurant and the food there. It's about this, so it's about something. Um, you got to have some kind of a loose format and a direction and a focus. And so I'm going to try to do that. That's something I thought I have to do that. I have to keep it a little more focused and come up with specific projects. So definitely. Wow. All right, you got to go somewhere new this time. Try Indonesia, maybe Malaysia. You can always do the train. Weren't you asking me about that? The train, like from Bangkok to, oh, yeah. Nah, I was thinking maybe like something a little more mainstream than that, like the water shortage. Some of the problems they're having there. I thought about something like that, but I got to think about also, like I said before, if I'm bored, I'm pretty much worthless. Because then I have no feeling for what I'm doing, and I keep saying, oh, I don't want to go to Klong Tui or Chinatown again. I don't particularly, I'm not in a rush, but like Chinatown, I do have an urge to go back and eat some food there. I have been wanting to go back there, but I don't know. And I haven't forgot about the burger thing either. So, and something else, and I talked about this the other day. Don't forget, first of all, I'm going to just type this in. Use the code. I haven't been using the night doodad. What's it called? The night bot? I don't think anybody wants to see me naked, Mitch. No, thank you. Not at this juncture. Maybe about 30 years ago, that would have been okay, but now, I don't think so. So yeah, I got the T-shirt discount, the Manscaped discount. But what I was going to say is, I'm just coming up with it now. But I'm going to try. I need to figure something out here, because what I want to do is I gotta get like stickers, T-shirts, like a certain kind of T-shirt that people really like. Not most people, they don't want to wear a Captain Save-A-Ho T-shirt. But I need a little. I need something that will work. And this way, if people give donations or they contribute to the channel or whatever, okay, you contribute $10, you get this sticker. You contribute $50, you get this T-shirt or whatever. You contribute $100, you get this print and a sticker or whatever. I gotta kind of do it like the Patreon thing is supposed to be set up for, or used to be set up for, or whatever. I kind of feel that's more appropriate, and I'm working on that. And so by the new year, I should have something in play, and I'll put that up. But I told you I'm changing this channel, and I am. It's heading in a bit of a new direction. And I'll tell you what, I've lost some subscribers because I haven't been concentrating on Thailand as much. I gained a whole lot, and then I've lost some. And I believe it's because I just don't want to focus on the everyday aspect of Thailand. Like, I think it's been done to death. And like I said the other day, it's been done to death. It's this place is oversaturated with tourists and expats, and now it's starting to thin out. And I think that's okay, you know. But it's like, imagine, you live in New Jersey, and all you ever do is videos about New Jersey. After a while, you might want to break out a little bit and go somewhere else. You might want to, hey, let me do New York. Let me do, I don't know, North Carolina, something like that. You might want to do something different. Well, that's where I'm at, you know. So, anyway, what else? That's it for the day. Where are we at here on time? Okay. Pretty good here. Perfect. Andy, what's happening? Hot. Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me either. It's hot here. What is it now? Let's see here. It's got to be 89. 91 degrees right now at 10 minutes to 11. 91 degrees. Oh, Cambodia, 1 month and a half teaching English. Figure September and want to do Bangkok, Singapore, and Indonesia, Bali. Oh, that's good. Man, you could do the train. You don't have to do it like I did. I've done it a couple times, and I've done it like second class, and I've done it like third class. And I've also done Singapore kind of first class, which was nice. But I think that train ride is quite nice. And if you go through the jungle, there's two routes. I can't remember which side is which. I think the east side is the jungle line, and the west side is the regular route or whatever. I don't remember what it's called. I should look that up. Let me see here. Let's see here. Yeah, East Coast Line is the Jungle Railway. I've been on that, and I've been on the other one. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you. If you look up in Wiki Travel, you look up Jungle Railway, you'll find out it goes runs through the center of Malaysia from Tumpat near Kota Baru on the east coast to the junction with the country's main line in Jamas. It's an interesting way to get from Kuala Lumpur or Singapore to the east coast of peninsular Malaysia. So, yeah, it can form a more adventurous alternative to the mainland for an overland trip between Singapore and Bangkok. However, while there is a track across the Thai border, passenger services do not run, and a 30-minute bus journey is required between either Pasir Mas or Kota Baru and Thailand's railway network and at Sungai Kolok, which is where I went. And that was a bit of a trip because, yeah, it's fantastic. I like that way better than going on the West Coast. Just because it's more scenic. Never been to Cambodia. I've been to Cambodia many times. Too many times. But there's other places I'd like to go and see. And, again, going to see the places and actually finding some kind of a theme in the place, whether it's food or whatever it is. That's I think the key. Food's always a good theme. I could always show the toilets of the world or something like that. I'm sure that'd go over great. You don't want to see that toilet in on the Malaysian side of the border before you catch that one train. You don't want to see those toilets. They're not good. Take my word for it. Anyway, like I said, perhaps on Sunday. I haven't been to Australia, and for whatever reason, there are some things I'd like to go do there, but I'd like to see some salties. I'd like to go in the outback. There's some things I'd like to do, but to me, going to Australia is if I want to get out of the city, one of the cities, Sydney or somewhere like that. That's like planning a trip to Africa and to a country in Africa. And I'd rather go to one or two countries in Africa than go to Australia right now, just because I'm getting older, and I don't know how much longer I could handle, the travel, or that I want to handle it. Bring lots of money if going to Oz. Yeah, I've heard that, and that's another reason. To do it right, you need a nice chunk of change. Even to Africa, let's say you go to Uganda, you go to Congo, you go to Rwanda, you go to Kenya, you gotta have to have cash. I mean, and I'm not talking about, you can't just go, I'm gonna have my ticket and I'll bring $500. No, you can do that in Asia, but you can't do that in Australia or all of the countries in Africa. You're not gonna be able to get away with that. You're gonna need far more than that. Unless you want to stay for one day, maybe stretch it to 2. So, anyway, hopefully I have a couple of videos done by the weekend. But bringing this thing back up again, I am thinking about it. It's a little frightening. You are manscaped. You can do anything. Thanks, Carl. This is like, it almost smells like it's not spicy. It's not hot. But it's like so not hot that it smells like it's going to be really, really, really hot. There's a little fleck. Oh, man. That's one granule. Oh. That was like, I just put one little, like, it was like a granule, like a pepper granule. I just put one on my thumb and put it to my mouth, and immediately it was spicy. Now, it's not spicy, but I still kind of have that feeling in my mouth like I just ate something spicy. And that was only one little granule, so that thing has got to be just. I don't want to say I'm scared, but I am. I'm scared to eat that thing. Manscaped or not, Khabib or not, I don't know. I thought about breaking off like a little corner and having a piece. But then to me, that's kind of cheating. Either it's all or nothing, baby. I can't believe that, though. It was one little granule, and it was extremely spicy. Hot. Not spicy is not the right word. Hot is the right word. So anyway, all right. Well, it's been a nice morning here. Very relaxing. Yeah, perfect. Oh, yeah, I'll put it on the omelet. Oof. That's horrific, man. Seriously. Apprehensive? Yes. Fearful? Would I eat it if my life depended on it, or somebody else's that I cared about, their life depended on it? Yes, I would. Do I want to eat it? Not particularly. I'm just looking at it, and it makes me think twice. But I mean, I've eaten some spicy food. I just don't know how it is in comparison to this. That's why I kind of like to do the hot wings thing. Nah, I see. I always tell them that I want it like a Thai's. Um, I think I may. Yeah, I may look at that show again. And before I decide to do this, what I may do is I may get some chicken wings, and I may make my own chicken wings with the sauce some of the sauces they have, so that I know approximately how hot it is, and I'll just go up the scale. That's my chicken shit way of figuring whether or not I can handle this and whether I want to eat it. It doesn't exactly smell tasty. I'll put it that way. It doesn't smell very good. We got pigeons outside. Yeah, I enjoy tasting my food, and I also enjoy not having the runs for like a week straight. But the chicken wings, I think I could probably handle those. Now, I don't know if when you get to like the last three, that might be a bit hot, because I think the last one of the shows I watched, and it was like as hot as this chip. So that's pretty hot. I don't know if my stomach can handle that. My stomach can handle a lot, but my pet means not spicy. Well, it's spicy is good when it adds flavor, and sometimes, it feels good to have something spicy because it tastes good. It adds something to the food. You get a nose run. It feels good. Gives you a little bit of the sweats. I can only imagine, man. I don't know if I want to eat that. Just because I'm not a glutton for, it's calculated risk. It's risk reward. Where's the reward with this? There is no reward. The reward is having the runs in a stomach that's cramped up for hours. I can't handle it. He didn't say that? What? Huh? I thought he did put my pet. Anyway, listen. I plan on living. He said, my pet, pet ma. It just looks scary. Oh, God. How's he going to pronounce it on the... How's he going to pronounce it in a chat? How's that going to happen? Anyway, on that positive note, don't forget about Manscaped again, of course. Manscaped. Oh, is that what he put? Oh, me. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I didn't see that. You're welcome. All right, Dre. Thanks a lot. Yeah, don't forget about Manscaped. Don't forget about the T-shirt discount. Santa is the code. You get 10% off. If you like any of those shirts in particular, or you'd like to see a particular shirt, please let me know, because I am thinking about that. And, I'd rather have 3 or 4 really good designs than, say, 15 or 20 and, only one is good. Well, that's true. I didn't even think of that. My. Yeah, well, actually, in phonetic Thai, it is M-A-I. And it's usually P-H-E-D or P-E-D. Anyway, let me think what else. What else do I got here? Yeah, I should be streaming on Sunday again. I got all the stuff down below here. Let's see here what I got. I got, oh yeah, don't forget about PayPal, Apple, Zelle, Patreon, my books, T-shirts. I already said that. Manscaped, I already said that. You want to see some photos? Go to my website at scottmountain.net. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Twitter's good when I'm on the ground somewhere or I'm doing something. Instagram's good for some photos. Facebook, Facebook is Facebook. I don't know why I still have it, but anyway, that's all I got. Andy, thank you. Hope you make it to Cambodia. I'm sure you will eventually. And that's all for now. So until next time, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Hong Kong. Oh, no, I'm in Bangkok again. I'm in Bangkok. So until next time, choke the lao jerk and my. In case you don't know what that is, it's good luck and see you later. So, and like Alex says, you don't have to say choke D. So you can just say jerk and my, but it sounds a bit strange. So that's why I do it. All right? Bye, zombies. All right, cool. Santa, thank you, Mitch. Thank you very much. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Okay? Arrivederci. Oh, you know what? Let's listen to a little Santa on the way out. We'll listen to a little Jingle Bells again. I don't know how this sounds. Yeah, a little. We got to have a little Christmas music. Maybe I'll find some Christmas music and we'll play some on Sunday. Whether I eat the chip or not. Where am I? Right back at you. We are monitoring their efforts to comply. Yeah. All right. Jingle bells, jingle bells. Talk to you later.